perched on cushions or blocks, you need to just walk your sit bones forwards, maybe pull out at the sides so you're in the best position here for that. And then go for palms facing up, length in the spine. And we just have a few minutes here grounding to prepare for our practice. You can, as I said, if you need that, do this session on the chair and focus on smaller bits of mobility today. Bringing awareness to our breath. And I just want you to scan your body from head to toe. Notice where you are holding any tension. Recognize your breath. Is it fast? Is it slow? Notice your mind. Is it racing? Are you quite settled with it being morning? And if you're feeling like you're carrying a lot of angst around with you, use this time now to try and just let go of anything that no longer serves you, and take that theme throughout your practice on every single exhale. So we're going to begin slowing our breath. Inhaling deeply through the nose, and then exhaling. Long sighs out through the mouth. Inhaling peace and joy. Exhaling stress and anxiety. Closing down the eyes for a moment if you haven't already. Set yourself an intention. That intention could just be something as simple as accepting your body's abilities right now. And just allowing this practice to go as it goes. Keeping your bodies as safe as possible. Yoga practice can be started at any time by anybody. Or you might want to offer this practice to somebody that you think might need it. Find a little bit more length through the spine. Remember that visual of the string from shoulder to shoulder. And you want to prevent that dropping down, so you want to keep that string tight. Squeeze the shoulder blades, draw the elbows in. And get an element of feeling what it's like to switch on those muscles in the upper back. And we're going to bring a little bit of mobility now to our seated posture. And I want you to just begin with fingertips down by the side, and then inhale and bring those arms overhead, and then exhale, come down. So we're just going to do that with our breath. We inhale to lift, exhale, come down. Go palms up on your elevation. Inhale, lift, exhale, down. Remember, we're inhaling joy and peace. Exhaling anything that no longer serves us. One more time. And then we're going to take a side bend. Bending over towards the left. Fingertips down or hands down. Taking that right arm up and over. Opening down the right side of the body. Keeping your sit bones both grounded. Have a quick look at what that shoulder at the top's doing. Does it collapse? Work on opening through the chest. Exhale, bring that hand down, elevating through the left arm, bending over to the right side. Give me that rotation of the shoulder. And then exhale, come down. Both fingertips behind you, both hands, fingertips behind you, and elevate through the chest, squeezing the shoulder blades. because I'm on a prop, it is literally just my fingertips behind. I can't get my hands flat. Exhale, release. And I like to sit on a prop, interlace fingers, because it makes it feel more comfortable to sit with my legs crossed. If I was to come straight down and sit on my mat and cross my legs, it feels so tight in my hips. And then we're going to keep interlaced, but we're going to go palms forwards and arms up above the head. Have a little glance left and right. So your aim as you improve flexibility is to try and bring those arms further back. You might be here, and that's okay. So there's postures that will help improve flexibility. Obviously, regular practice, once, twice a week, will be the best way to improve flexibility. Palms come down to the heart space, namaste. We are going to come over to tabletop position now. So bring the props to the front of the mat, out of the way. I'm going to start with a child's pose. So go corner to corner, wide knees, big toes meet, and then sinking down and back until the forehead comes down on the mat. If that feels too tight, you might already need to bring your prop here. That's fine. Now I want you to just start to walk your right fingertips forwards, just to deepen through that posture. However, if this is too much, you don't go for progressions. And then start to walk your left fingers forwards and take a few breaths in child's pose. And if you kind of tilt your pelvis, you won't visibly move, but if you apply sort of tilting forwards, you will find the most gentle hip stretch. And once you find that, drawing your pelvic floor as well when you do that, once you find that, it makes it easier to understand how to find more depth in your stretch. Now start to bring your hands back to tabletop position. We'll go for untucked toes, and then you're going to stretch out left leg, right arm. Halves shut the door again, please. And then we're going to sink back down into child's pose. Then inhale, come back to tabletop position. Stretch out through the right arm and the right leg and the left arm. Exhale, we're coming back into child's pose again. We'll do that 2 more times. Back to tabletop. Left leg, right arm. Try to bring that arm up along the ears. Exhale, down, child's pose. Back to table, opposite side, right leg, left arm. Exhale, come down. Lift your chest and your tailbone, finding a cow stretch. And exhale, finding cat. Neutral spine, tuck toes. So anybody who feels, oh, I don't fancy downward facing dog this morning, you can stay here, do cat-cow. Otherwise we're coming up to our first inversion of the day, down dog. So you might want to stay still, or you can pedal. You're trying to find length down the spine, and length through the arms, keeping a micro bend in the knees. Fingertips press into the mat to avoid the heels of your hands taking too much body weight. You're sending your weight through to the legs. Exhale, lower to the knees. And I want you to find wider knees, big toes to meet, and sink back down into child's pose. So sink down and back, take child's pose. Now, if you've got any issues with your knees, having your knees wide might be uncomfortable. So if you feel, oh, my joints don't like that, just draw your knees back, closer together. Tabletop position. We're going to float back to downward facing dog again. Tuck the toes and up. Lengthening through the spine. Suck the navel towards the spine as well. So you've got two options this morning. You can go bending knees, walking your fingers towards your feet, which is more accessible if you're fairly new. Or if you want a little bit more challenge from your downward facing dog, you can walk your feet towards your hands. Those who are very practiced could even jump towards their hands. So step back, downward facing dog, and we're going to just do a little bit of movement now. So take an inhale, walking feet towards the hands or hands towards the feet if that's more accessible. Have a gap between your feet and you're just finding a forward fold. You may prefer to bring props in here so you feel a bit more grounded. As much bend in the knees as you need. Progression, feet together. If you want to make it easier, feet at hip distance. Relax the back of the neck. Now we're going to lift the chest and then inhale, circle up, extended mountain pose. Palms together above the head. Namaste hands and then just diving forward, finding that fold again. Relax the back of the neck. Inhale, up. I'm just going to repeat this a few times. Namaste hands. I want you to squeeze your glutes, draw your navel in. See if you can pull your hands back or your arms back a bit more. Hands to the heart space. Dive forward, forward fold. Relax the back of the neck. Inhale, circle up. Extended mountain pose. See how you feel about reaching and coming to the balls of your feet. Beginners, this might be too bouncy for you. Namaste. Stay hands and dive forward. Inhale, up. Keep the heels down if that's better for you. Inhale, lift. Then come down. Okay, one more time. Inhale, but we're going to keep the heels down. Option, feet and thighs together if you want a progression. And then I want you to bring your left arm down and start to bend over to the right. There should be no discomfort in your lower back. If there is, just exit slightly. Bring that left arm up, right arm down, and take your side bend the other way. To have a quick look at that shoulder, you don't want that to drop down. Come to center, circle those arms and interlace fingers behind your back. Draw your navel in. Squeeze your shoulder blades and lengthen those arms. Avoid looking round when you're doing this stretch because you will it'll hurt your neck if you try and look. Squeeze glutes. Lift those hands away from the bottom if you can. And then shake out. We're going to come back down to the mat. Exhale, fold. Carefully step back to down dog or find downward facing dog if you weren't at the back of the mat just then. And we're going to go into a puppy pose. Feel free to have props under your chest, tailbone high, arms stretch forwards, and you're melting your chest towards your mat or prop, bringing your forehead down to the mat. You might prefer your toes tucked, you might prefer your toes untucked. So this stretch is amazing for improving. Stay down there, guys, and just focus on breathing a bit more. This stretch is really good for improving flexibility for the shoulders and the upper back. It's quite tough if you're new to practice. So just regress slightly. Progression, those who need it, is to go for chin on the chest rather than the forehead. Only go for that progression if it feels right. Taking a couple more breaths here before we go into a bit more movement. Now pick up the head and slide the hands back, tabletop position. Nobody has to do a three-leg dog this morning. If you're still at the stage where cat-cow is more than adequate or a downward facing dog for a few breaths is strong enough, then that's what you do today. Otherwise we're going to flow up to downward facing dog. Exploring length and a little bit of balance as well. So you're going to inhale and elevate through the left leg for a three-leg dog. I want you to lead with your heel and keep your hips square. Now, down dog or cat-cow is adequate here. Option, inhale, lift to the ball of the right foot. See if you can go a bit higher with that heel. And then we're going to bring that foot in and step it outside, lower the knee, take as much time as you need here, and then we're going to float up to low lunge. We did these last week, low lunges. Sink in. Lengthen those arms and open across the chest. See if you can bend a bit further. And then just lean forwards a little. Hands down, tuck the back toe. Step back to down dog. Stay down dog or cat-cow. Otherwise, inhale, three-leg dog. Lead with the heel. And now we're going to lift to the ball of that left foot. Lift, which is going to give you an opportunity to go higher. Then bend, step that foot out, back knee down, find your balance, then flow up. Sink into your low lunge. Take that right knee a little bit wider. See if you need to adjust the front foot. And then frame. Stepping back, down dog. We're going to do one more time, each way. Cat-cow, down dog, or three-leg dog. But this time try and open the hip. Lead with pointed toes. Come to the ball of that right foot. And then bend and step. High lunge or low lunge, you choose. Flow. See how you feel about a bit more bend. A little bit of length and angle. Hands down, back to downward facing dog. We've got one more. Cat-cow, down dog or three-leg. Open through the hip. See how you feel about coming to the ball of that left foot for a bit more range. Then step it through. You choose low lunge, back knee down, or high lunge, flow. A bit more length in that back leg, a bit more bend. And lengthen. Hands down. Step back, down dog, wide knees, big toes meet, melt back. Child's pose. Well done. Now, I would recommend you revisit this a couple of times so you don't feel like everything changes every time you practice. So, I would always have yoga plans, once studios are open, and we'd spend at least 1 week on one flow. And then I'd take elements of that week and include it into the next, and that's how you get your progressions. Okay, coming back to tabletop position. Downward facing dog. Remember, you can go hands to feet if that's easier for you, but you might need to step forward if you go for that option once you're up. So we're going to go feet to hands or hands to feet, fold, lower bottom lift chest, up to extended mountain pose. Exhale, forward fold. And then stepping back or forward, depending where you are. High plank, then up to downward facing dog. Roll it over. You may prefer to be on your knees here. Pull the chest through. See how you feel. Press those toes down. Lower. Untuck. Squeeze glutes. Lift here or lift here. I'd recommend beginners always do this option so you don't overstretch the lower back. Exhale, slide the hands back here, elbows in, tuck, push through to the knees, downward facing dog. So we're going to do that 3 or 4 times. It will get you warm. Hands to feet or feet to hands, forward fold. Lower bottom, lift chest. Come up, extended mountain pose. Squeeze glutes when you're up here. Exhale, forward fold. Those that have practiced, you can go straight into your vinyasa. Step back, downward facing dog. Flow over to a high plank. Option is low plank. Knees down. Lower. Lift into cobra. Up dog if that's within your practice. Tuck toes. Back to downward facing dog. Find length. Feet to hands or hands to feet. Come forwards. Feet together. Inhale, come up. Strong. Squeezing glutes. Exhale, fold. So this is a vinyasa. Step back, down dog. Flow over. Come to the knees if you need to. Elbows back. Forearms down for baby if you need it. Cobra or up dog if it's within your practice. Exhale. We'll go straight to child's pose here. Well done. So take a few moments in child's pose. Now you might think, oh, that was tough, that was strong. I'm really warm from that. So it's to bring some energy to the body, warm your body up, prepare you, get everything ready for deeper postures. Well done. So you're here in child's pose, just having a little recovery. Well done. When you're ready, meet back in table. Down dog. Walking hands to feet if that's better for you. Or jumping feet forward or walking feet forward. We're going to come up, hands down by the side. And we're going to do a few standing postures. Make sure you're at the front of the mat now, everybody. Take a long step with your back foot. Whichever foot will keep your eyes to me, so you're facing me. And we're going to set up for warrior 2, so check your shoulders and your hips are stacked. Sink down. Inhale, arms up, warrior 2. So this foot might end up looking like it's more this way, but what we don't want is this back foot over here, absolutely not. Now bring those arms up. So this might be enough for you. You might be feeling tight here. If you're feeling tight here, bring this foot in. So what you don't want is your hips and shoulders pointing there. They want to be pointing here. So if you've got tight hips, you bring the feet in accordance to that. Anybody who is happy with this alignment, wants a progression, lift this heel off the floor. Now, come down, and we're going to take a reverse. You can go here if you're practiced. If you're new today, don't make that your focus. If it's tight in your lower back, you've gone too far over, so come up a bit. Bring the back arm up. Hold the wrist. Arms down. Now we're going to go into a triangle. So you're going to push that hip out and reach. I'll show you that again. Reach and over. This is where you might need a prop for this hand. See if you can keep this arm back. If this hurts anyone's shoulder, you can just bring this arm lower, okay? Find warrior 2. And then we're going to come in. I've got tight hips, so I'm going to keep my toes relatively forward. Somebody like ex-dancers maybe would find you can go right out here. I can't. We're going to go into goddess pose. Sinking down, tailbone under. See how you feel about bringing those arms up. Sinking a bit lower. 3, 2, 1, inhale, come up. We're going to point toes this way. So start by pivoting on the ball of this foot, on the heel of this foot. Going a bit deeper with your base. Warrior 2. Nice and strong in this back leg. Look down that front arm. Inhale, arms up. And then lift that heel. So I can see that my alignment's out a little bit, so I'm going to turn my toes inwards a bit more, so my hips and shoulders are stacked. We'll drop this back arm. Okay, we'll flow up. Reverse. I'm going to bring that heel down so I can focus on my back bend, because keeping the heel up is making me lose my form. Bring the other arm up. This hand holds the wrist. See if you can take a bit more range. If you feel it in your lower back, just ease out a little bit. And then arms back here, and we're going to do that. Lengthen the leg, hip back, reach. I'll show you again. Hip back, reach. That sets your hips up to make it easier to tip for Trikonasana. Too much food for the shoulder, arm down, and bring it back here. Everybody wants to be getting that lift in the shoulder. Bend, come up, heel toe, always heel toe. So that could take 20 movements, and that's fine. It's the safest for the joints. Press palms together. We're going to sink down for goddess. Arms up. If you only manage a few seconds down here and need to go up, that's fine. It's a tough pose. See if you can go a bit deeper and wider with your base. Open through the chest. A few more. Hands here. And then inhale, come up. Heel toe, heel toe, heel toe. Turn forwards. Hands down by your side, thighs together, feet together for this next one. So we're going to go into a chair pose, but rotate palms forwards, active in your glutes, quads, actively lengthening your spine, sucking your navel towards your spine, visualising that string from shoulder to shoulder. Easier option, anybody who feels like they're tight in their shoulders, so it's all about taking the option that's not going to stress your joints and muscles too much. So this is an easier option because not everybody can do this with their arms. You will with practice, but because this is more legs, make that your focus over the arms. So either here for chair or here, sucking the navel towards the spine. It's quite strong, so also known as an intense pose. Suck the navel towards the spine. So if you can open across that chest a bit more, like I said, here is your option. And then we're going to fold forward, so you might find, oh, that's an easy way to come to a fold. And then you'll start to work out how things link together. Relax the back of the neck. If this is too much, wider feet. Suck the navel towards the spine. Do you feel like your hands are closer to the mat? Because you should do, even if it's just a tiniest bit. All those forward folds you've done, you should feel like you've created a bit more length down the back of the legs. There's no need to ever straighten the legs if you need a bend. Hold around the back of the ankles if you want to intensify. And then just drawing the elbows in. Fold further, otherwise fingertips here is adequate, or back of the hands. We're going to go into a flat back. So bring the hands to the shins and you start to pick up your shoulders and your head and your chest. bringing your alignment back to your spine and going a bit longer with the legs. You might need to heel toe your feet a bit wider. That's a much deeper hamstring stretch. Some people might need the hands here, or I prefer just below the knees. Check your eye gaze. If anybody's looking at the toes, they shouldn't be. Your eye gaze should be wherever your chest is pointing, but that doesn't mean you've landed correctly. So think about where the top of your mat is. You want to be looking beyond that. I'm staring at the middle of a kitchen counter there. And then exhale, forward fold. And then you're going to step back, take a vinyasa, those that are within that practice, otherwise we're going to take a slow down dog. Rolling over, finding a high plank. Low plank if you need it. Lowering down, baby cobra, cobra up dog, if that's within your practice. Exhale. Right, we'll have a little soothing moment here. If you feel out of breath or a bit sick facing down, you can come onto, sit down on your bottom. You're going to bring your hands to the top of the mat. Rest your right cheek on the hands, and then slide your left knee out. Have a quick look, I want your heel in line with the knee. So this is just a nice little relax here. We're winding it down now. See if you can bring that knee a bit higher, but keep the heel in line. Then just start to wiggle and bring that leg back to the mat. Bring your forehead back and then turn your forehead in the opposite direction and start to shuffle your foot and take your knee out the other side and have a little look to see if the heel is in line with the knee. You might notice that you're tighter one side. So for me, I feel like it's tighter, and that if I go too high with my knee, I'm not in the stretch. I'm going to lower my knee back down a bit. Revisit your intention. Be kind to yourselves. It is part of the process of practicing yoga. You practice, and then you learn from it. So it's not about looking identical to anybody else. It's just finding how you move your body. Start to wiggle that leg away, coming back, and then I want you to have your hands sort of either side of the head. Walk your feet in, untuck the toes, and just push your hands towards the top of the mat. Depending on where you are, I'm very close to the top of the mat. Your hands shouldn't be too outstretched. And then just lift gently into seal. You don't need to lock the arms out ever. So this is just a gentle back bend. And you can do that by bringing the elbows down. And just take a few breaths here before we roll over. If it's too tight, you lower. And then exhale, hands to the side of the chest. Push up to the knees. Take a cat-cow as an option. Or we're just going to take one more downward facing dog. Countering, lengthening through the spine and the arms. And then lower to the knees. And when you're ready, roll yourselves over onto your back. And we'll do a few supine stretches. So once you're on your mat, hook the knees into the chest if you want to. I would recommend going for a gap between the knees. And then just rock side to side. You might quite easily, depending on what surface you're on, if you're on a very comfy, thick carpet, you might not feel the pressure points. But if you just roll it out to the left or right, if you hold a lot of tension in your lower back, this is a way of getting a bit of massage. And then we're going to take that to a happy baby, and if you can't reach for the feet, just stay here a bit longer. So I'd recommend bringing the feet up a little bit more, arms inside, and you're going to have to crunch up a little bit and get the inside of the feet. And once you've got there, head down and bring the heels a bit higher. So I've not done this stretch for a while, so it feels quite tight in my hips. So you're using your lengthened arms. You can also do a toe lock, which is 2 fingers wrapped round the outside of the big toe, but I don't like the toe locks. I've got a knot in my vest which is digging into my spine. If you want to go for hamstrings, you can lengthen through the legs. Do not force this one though. This is a bit similar to the position you were in for triangle, so you might feel this complement your trikonasana. And then release. We'll counter with a little bridge. There should be no props under your head when you do a hip bridge. Hands down by the side, walk your shoulder blades in, feet plant down. You want your feet in line with your hips, and then you're going to lift through, which is strengthening through the lower body. Walk your shoulder blades in. You're actively engaged in your core once you do that lift. Palms down. And then exhale, release. One more hugging of the knees. And then we're going to take it into a Shavasana. I'm just going to go for a little bit of a softer track for our Shavasana. Okay, so you're going to lie yourselves down on your mat now. You can place a cushion under your head, you can grab a blanket, turn off the lights. It's completely okay to leave your mat to set up for your best Shavasana. So if you need to pop some socks on or a jumper on, go for it. I always go very cold for relaxation, so I always have loads of stuff with me to make sure I can really immerse in that. So you'll lay on your back, arms down by your side, palms facing up, foot corner to corner. But if your lower back feels uncomfortable, you can bring the feet in towards your bottom, legs at 90 degrees. And bring your awareness to your breath. So in Shavasana, it's quite easy to connect with your breath actually. You're not in a challenging posture, for example. Connecting with breath when you're in a warrior two, you end up being consumed with the cues, the alignment, the strengthening sensations of those postures. Where rested in Shavasana, you really can take the time to recognise and be connected with your breath. If you want to, place your left hand on your heart space and your right hand on your tummy. And you can identify that movement. So we're going to go for nasal breath unless you've got a blocked nose. Inhale through the nose. Feel the chest lift and the upper back and the lower back elevate slightly. And as you exhale, feel how things ground and suck back down towards the ground. And again, inhale, lift. Exhale. And just find your flow. I'd recommend trying to extend your breath by 2 to 3 times. So going beyond your natural rhythm, your natural rate of breath. Remembering we are inhaling joy and calmness and exhaling anything that no longer serves us. see this practice as the start of your weekend and make your weekend as positive and as peaceful and as joyful as you can. And you can touch base with this technique of breathing before you go to bed anytime throughout the day. So if you can try and practice your breath work in between your yoga practice, it will help you stay on track with your goals and your targets, or simply letting go of anything that's bothering you. If you found transitions were difficult, some of the postures were challenging, don't worry, you will improve, you'll become stronger, you'll become more confident. I'd highly recommend revisiting these videos. And I want you to visualise a big, bright ball of light above the crown of your head. And that light is going to enter through the crown. And you're going to release tension in your face, behind the eyes. Move the nose, release through the jaw. That light is going to move down to the shoulders. Move the shoulders, allow the tension to release from those shoulders, your upper back. Moving down through the arms, down the torso. Illuminating your body. Nourishing your body. It moves down towards the tummy and the pelvis, filling each individual finger, moving down the legs, moving lower to the legs, into the feet, and finally exiting through the toes. And I want you to visualise, begin to visualise yourself on your mat, illuminated, full of light, full of peace, full of joy. And then take 2 more deep breaths in. Go for an inhale through the nose and a long sigh out through the mouth. And again, inhale through the nose and then exhale through the mouth. Start to bring a little bit of awareness through your body now. A little bit of movement through your fingers and toes. Hug the knees into the chest. And then slowly start to find your way back up to a seated position. Nice and slowly. Keep the eyes closed if you can. You can go for legs out to the side, legs out in front of you if crossing the legs feels a bit uncomfortable, or you might have loads of props around you, so just sit however is comfortable. And then bring your hands to your heart space. Eyes closed. Bring your eyes watching there. Happy Saturday, namaste, and thank you so much for joining me this morning. Hope you have a lovely weekend.